All right, let's dive right in, shall we? Today, we're tackling something pretty exciting, packing that hospital bag. And by the way, congrats are definitely in order.
It's true. Prepping for a new baby can feel a little overwhelming, you know? And even seasoned parents, sometimes they find themselves double checking those hospital bag checklists.
Absolutely. And that's exactly where this deep dive comes in. We're going to be taking a look at this fantastic blog post. It's by Sarah Alex, who is a soon-to-be mom.
Sure.
And clearly, she has done her research. She's laid out this super detailed plan for packing. Trust me, there are some real gems in here. Silverettes,
Yeah.
ice packs for, like, everything. Dad needs his own comfort kit. Sarah's got it all covered.
What's really fascinating about Sarah's approach is her focus on organization and comfort, two things that can easily go out the window when you're in the midst of labor and delivery.
So true. Speaking of organization, let's talk about Sarah's two-bag system. Why pack two bags instead of just tossing everything into one giant suitcase?
Well, imagine yourself in the throes of labor, trying to find that one specific item you need. Having a separate bag for labor and delivery, it just keeps things streamlined and ensures that you have the essentials right at your fingertips.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. No one wants to be digging through a Mary Poppins bag while they're dealing with contractions. So what exactly goes into this, like, go-time bag?
Sarah prioritizes comfort in the delivery room. Think slip-on shoes, a cozy robe, a sweater, basically anything to keep you feeling relaxed and comfortable, even in a potentially sterile hospital environment.
It's like creating your own little oasis of calm amidst the chaos. I know she even mentions packing a misting bottle, especially for summer births. Is that like a standard recommendation?
It's a really clever tip, especially if you're planning on having an epidural. Epidurals can sometimes cause a drop in body temperature, so that misting bottle can help you stay cool and comfortable when you might not be able to drink as much.
Oh, that makes sense. It's all about those little things that can make a big difference. And speaking of small but mighty, Sarah also mentions packing a small fan. Is that something you often recommend to your patients?
Absolutely. Hospital rooms can get stuffy, and having some control over the airflow can be incredibly helpful. It's a small addition to the bag, but it can have a big impact on your overall comfort, especially during those postpartum hormonal fluctuations.
So true. And while we're talking comfort, Sarah emphasizes the importance of comfy clothes for the hospital stay. She's packed enough for, like, a decent stretch. 5 days for a vaginal birth, 7 for a C-section. I'm guessing those stylish jeans and cute tops can wait, huh?
Definitely. Comfort trumps fashion in those first few days postpartum. Sarah opts for loose, breathable clothing, like bathrobes, nightgowns, and flowy dresses.
Yeah.
But let's be real, those disposable postpartum underwear, game changer.
Okay, that's going straight on my list. Less laundry is always a win in my book. Now, one thing that caught my eye was Sarah's inclusion of compression stockings. She mentioned she used them for travel, but I know they have medical benefits too, right?
Absolutely. Compression stockings are particularly important after childbirth. They help improve circulation, which can be sluggish after delivery, and they play a crucial role in preventing blood clots, which is a potential risk postpartum. They also help reduce swelling in the legs and feet, which is a common complaint after pregnancy.
Wow, so many benefits packed into one garment. Sarah's really thinking ahead. And while we're talking about feeling good, she doesn't skimp on the toiletries and hygiene products either.
It's all about maintaining a sense of normalcy and self-care, even in a hospital setting. Sarah packs her usual skincare routine, a few makeup essentials, and even brings her own towels for extra softness. It's just those little touches that can help you feel a bit more human and a bit less patient.
I love that. It's about creating a sanctuary of comfort and familiarity within those hospital walls. Speaking of comfort, what about preparing for breastfeeding? What essentials does Sarah pack for that?
Sarah's is planning to breastfeed, so she's included nursing bras, washable nursing pads, and then there are these intriguing things called silverettes.
Okay, silverettes. I have to admit, I'm drawing a blank here. What are those?
They're nipple covers made from pure silver, and they're often used to soothe sore nipples, promote healing, and prevent infection. They're quite popular among breastfeeding mothers and can be a great alternative or complement to nipple cream.
Interesting. Although I noticed Sarah didn't actually pack any nipple cream. Is that a bold move or a potential recipe for discomfort?
That's a great question, and it really depends on the individual. Some moms find they don't need nipple cream at all, while others rely on it heavily. Sarah seems to be banking on the silverettes, but it's always wise to have a backup plan, just in case.
Good point. And speaking of backup plans, Sarah's also packing a portable breast pump. even though she's not sure she'll need it. Is that something you often recommend?
While it might seem like overkill, having a breast pump on hand provides flexibility and peace of mind. It can be helpful for relieving engorgement, which is when the breasts become overfull with milk, or if there are any latching difficulties. It also allows someone else to feed the baby if needed, giving mom a much-needed break.
Makes sense. It's all about being prepared and having those options available. Now, Sarah's list also includes some interesting recovery items that she discovered through online research. I'm talking about the Perry bottle, reusable ice packs, and cooling spray. Tell me more about those.
The Perry bottle is a must-have for postpartum recovery. It's used to gently cleanse the perineal area after childbirth, especially if you've had stitches.
Those first few days after childbirth can be pretty tender, so I imagine that gentle cleansing is a welcome relief. What about the other items?
Reusable ice packs are fantastic for postpartum recovery. They can be used hot or cold to address a variety of needs. For example, cold therapy helps reduce swelling and pain, which is especially welcome in the perineal area after delivery. But here's where it gets really interesting. You can also use them warm to help with engorgement, which is when your breasts become overly full with milk.
Wait, so you're saying ice packs can be a lifesaver for both down there and up there?
Exactly. And they can also be helpful for dealing with plugged ducts, which can cause localized pain and tenderness in the breasts. Warm compresses can help encourage milk flow and provide relief.
Wow, those ice packs sound like the ultimate multitaskers.
Yeah.
So much better than those single-use ones. And what about that cooling spray Sarah mentions?
The cooling spray is a nice touch. For instant refreshment and soothing relief, think of it as a little spa treatment for those tender areas.
I love that. Little luxuries can go a long way. In those early postpartum days, it sounds like Sarah's really created a plan for maximum comfort during her hospital stay. But we haven't even talked about the baby's bag yet. I'm picturing tiny pajamas and those adorable hats.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we should be thinking about?
You're right. Those tiny baby clothes are irresistible. But before we get lost in a sea of onesies, it's important to understand that hospitals often have specific requirements for what babies need to wear, especially in those first few hours after birth.
That's a good point. So it's not just about cuteness. There's a practical side to it as well. What kind of things should we be aware of?
Sarah's hospital, for example, requests a long-sleeved onesie, pajamas, a cardigan, a hat, and socks for the delivery room. The idea is to keep the baby warm and comfortable during those initial skin-to-skin moments and those first few checks by the medical staff.
That makes sense. Tiny humans aren't exactly known for regulating their body temperature very well.
Exactly, and it's important to note that these requirements can vary from hospital to hospital. Always check with your birthing center or hospital for their specific guidelines.
Okay, so once we've got those initial outfits sorted, what about packing for the rest of the hospital stay? How many clothes does a tiny human actually need?
You'd be surprised. Newborns, especially in those first few days, can go through quite a few changes of clothes. Think spit up, diaper blowouts, and all those other joys of newborn life. Sarah's packing a variety of onesies, pajamas, and cardigans. She's basically packing a fresh outfit for each day of her stay.
Okay, I'm starting to understand why Sarah's opted for the two-bag system. And on the topic of clothes, how do you even know what size to pack for a newborn? They grow so fast.
That's a common dilemma. Sarah mentions that her doctor helped her estimate the baby's size based on ultrasound scans, but it's always a good idea to pack a range of sizes, just in case. I'd suggest having a few outfits in newborn size and a few in 0-3 max, just to be on the safe side.
Better to be over-prepared than scrambling for last-minute online orders, right?
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of preparation, it's important to note that hospitals don't always provide everything you might need for your little one.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess I just assumed they'd have all the baby essentials covered. What kind of things should we be thinking about?
Sarah highlights a few items that her hospital doesn't provide, like swaddle blankets. Swaddling can be incredibly soothing for newborns. It mimics the feeling of being held and can help them sleep more soundly.
Right. Those cozy little burritos. I know a lot of parents swear by swaddling. What else does Sarah mention?
She also points out that her hospital doesn't provide baby towels. Those tiny hospital towels just aren't absorbent enough for those delicate nurborn skin.
Good point. And Sarah also notes that her hospital requests a few specific items, like a baby hairbrush and a body or bath thermometer.
Exactly. It's those little details that can easily be overlooked. For the hairbrush, choose one with soft bristles, preferably natural fibers. And for the thermometer, a digital rectal thermometer is generally considered the most accurate. For newborns,
Okay, so we've got the practicalities covered. But what about the fun stuff? I mean, packing that going home outfit has got to be a highlight.
absolutely, it's a chance to add a little personality and celebrate the arrival of your little one. Whether it's a tiny dress, a miniature suit, or just a comfy onesie, that going home outfit is a special moment.
It's like the grand finale of the hospital stay. Speaking of which, we can't forget about the other VIP dad. Sarah dedicates a whole section of her post to what dad should pack if he's staying at the hospital. It's so easy to focus on mom and baby and forget that dad's comfort matters too.
It's true. Dad's role during labor and delivery and those first few days postpartum is so important. Making sure he's comfortable and prepared can make a huge difference in his ability to support mom and bond with the baby. After all, he's going through this experience too, just in a different way.
So what are Sarah's top tips for keeping dad happy and well-equipped during the hospital stay?
First and foremost, Sarah suggests packing comfort boosters, like a pillow and blanket. Hospital accommodations for partners aren't always the most luxurious, and those extra layers of comfort can make a big difference in getting some much-needed rest.
Right? Those fold-out chairs and cots aren't exactly known for their plushness.
Exactly. And it's not just about physical comfort. Sarah also recommends packing entertainment for dad. He might be spending a lot of time waiting, so a book, magazine, or tablet could come in handy. And of course, we can't forget his important role as delivery room DJ photographer.
Yes, dad's got to be ready to capture those precious first moments. What does Sarah suggest for that?
Sarah recommends packing a phone, charger, speaker, and memory cards to ensure dad is ready to document every adorable detail.
Makes sense. And what about snacks? I'm sensing a theme here.
You're catching on. Sarah stresses the importance of snacks and drinks for dad, and honestly, for everyone involved. Labor can be unpredictable and exhausting, and maintaining everyone's energy levels is crucial.
I love that she even includes that practical tip from the midwives, bring vending machine change.
It's those little details that can make a big difference. We've covered a lot of ground here, from mom's must-haves, to baby's tiny wardrobe, to dad's comfort essentials.
We've really unpacked Sarah's packing list, haven't we? But before we wrap up, there's one thing that's been on my mind. We've talked a lot about Sarah's specific recommendations, but how does all of this translate to our listeners' individual needs? I mean,
Every birth experience is unique, right? You're absolutely right. Sarah's list is fantastic.
yeah,
And super comprehensive, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
exactly. It's important to remember that every birth experience is unique, and what works for one person might not work for another. This is where personalization comes in.
So how can our listener take Sarah's list and make it their own?
It's all about considering your individual needs and preferences. For example, if you know you tend to get cold easily, pack an extra blanket or two. If you're sensitive to certain smells, bring your favorite unscented toiletries. That makes sense. It's about creating a space that feels comfortable and supportive for you.
Precisely. And think about your birth plan. If you're planning on having a water birth, for example, you'll need a different set of items compared to someone who's planning on an epidural.
Okay, so it's about being informed about your options and making choices that align with your preferences.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to deviate from the list. If something doesn't feel right for you, you are the expert on your own body and your own birth experience.
I love that. It's empowering to remember that you have the agency to create the experience you want. Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to circle back to those recovery items we discussed earlier. The Perry bottle, those multitasking ice packs, the cooling spray. Those all sound incredibly helpful. Is there anything else our listeners should know about using them?
Well, with the Perry bottle, remember to fill it with warm water. And when you're spraying, aim for the front and let the water flee back. It's all about being gentle with yourself. During those first few days postpartum,
Good to know. It sounds like those ice packs are pretty intuitive to use, hot or cold, depending on your needs.
yes. But one thing to remember is that you shouldn't apply ice directly to your skin. Wrap the ice pack in a thin towel to prevent any discomfort or irritation.
Ah, good tip. And the cooling spray. Is that as straightforward as it sounds?
Absolutely. Just a few spritzes can provide instant relief and a sense of freshness. And it's small enough to fit in your bedside table for easy access.
Perfect. It sounds like Sarah's really thought of everything to make her hospital stay as comfortable and manageable as possible.
She has. And I think her approach highlights something really important. Packing your hospital bag is about more than just gathering a bunch of items. It's about creating a sense of preparedness, both physically and mentally.
I love that. It's about feeling confident and ready to embrace this incredible new chapter.
Exactly. And beyond the physical items, I think it's equally important to pack a sense of confidence, patience, and a good dose of humor.
That's so true. Childbirth is a journey, and it's likely to have its unexpected twists and turns.
Indeed. So go into it with an open heart, a sense of adventure, and the knowledge that you've got this.
I love that message. Well, I think we've officially unpacked everything there is to know about packing that hospital bag. Huge thanks to Sarah Alex for sharing her insights and tips, and for reminding us that a well-packed bag is a great first step towards a positive and empowered birth experience.
It was a pleasure diving into her comprehensive and thoughtfully curated packing list.
And to you, our amazing listener, congratulations again on this exciting new chapter. I know packing can feel overwhelming, but remember, it's just one small step in the grand adventure of parenthood.
And now that you're mentally prepared and your bags are almost packed, take a moment to reflect. What one thing are you most looking forward to about meeting your little one?
That's such a beautiful question to end on. We can't wait to hear your answers. Until next time, happy packing and best wishes for a smooth and joyful birth experience.